Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got my overnight highs up here, overnight lows down here. We're in this range here. So I was kind of debating the highs and lows between here and here because this was in the overnight session. But this level did end up fitting pretty well, pretty clear, and then it did come back into play later, for anyone wondering. So basically what I've got here, we have this push out. So we do have these two legs here. So first leg break, second leg is a double bottom. And then I ended up using it as its own leg because it was the one breaking out of the overnight high. And then also after has an uptrend. So after the uptrend has a break and a new high, I'll use that as a measured move. So notice this leg here, break, second leg, perfect measured move up here. So we push out, we come back in, and then we have first attempt at a new high, second attempt at a new high. So uptrend, break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher. It just rushes, it just rushes below the EMA here, so there's no way to go long. But we do push higher here. We have one leg at a new high, and so it's a very bullish leg, and then it has STT in it. And then by the time that you get an entry with room to the EMA, there's no room for good risk to reward. So the thing about this entry right here is that we could get a second leg like this. So notice how that's the first attempt and then the second attempt. Really, price action forms, it gets bigger as it forms. And so really what this is uptrend, break, one attempt at a new high. We make the new high. That's not reason of itself to go short and then has STT. And then by the time you get an entry down here, there's just no room to it. Notice how on this, after you get this second attempt higher, so there's the first attempt and then break, second attempt up here, it actually manages to get through the EMA this time. That's because entering on the second attempt is much stronger. But yeah, so you push lower here, we just end with a doji. It has STT in it. There's no reason to go long right here. And then we have this right here. So now we have first entry long, second entry long. We have a doji bar, and then we do close up a little bit more here. It's clearly getting kind of choppy right here. I'd be worried about fading this range right here, so I did not want to go long here, especially when it's just kind of getting a little bit stacked. So I didn't see any reason to go long right there, but we do have another leg up here. It's clearly following along with this trend line, and then we can extend that a little bit as it keeps forming. And so, we don't get any good short right here. It is a breakout of this range. It's just too bullish. We're clearly holding on this trend line right here. If we could have gotten something that rushed below and gave a lower high, that would have been good, but unfortunately it just doesn't set up. But what does happen is we have this clear attempt to fade the range. And so we're in the range, we have the breakout. This is the first clear attempt. So, like I said, price action forms on different levels. At first you could see first attempt to fade, and then you can see this as a second attempt to fade, but that's a very small picture. So then after the uptrend has two much bigger clear attempts at a new high, we get a much bigger clear attempt to fade the range. So we try to fade once and then twice right here, and then this entry is on the failure. And so what I was thinking here is, so breakout, first attempt to fade, second attempt to fade, failure, because when you enter on the second attempt failure, that's very strong. Entering on failures is very strong. So going long here, once it closed above the EMA, the intent was to enter on the second attempt to go fade, so the failure to fade. And then it had confluence to the upside because as these legs form here, so this uptrend break, and then you got those two legs, eventually it does form one bigger leg, so it's like a breakout of the range. So you have that leg, and then it's clearly measured. I'll try to declutter it a little bit. I'll just remove a few things. So notice this leg up here, break, second leg up, and then it clearly reacts off that area. I just want to show these measured moves. So we had this measured move in play. All right, once again, I was entering on the failure to fade and then continuing this measured move right here. So it had confluence to the downside and the long side. The bears were failing. The bulls still had a measured move in play, so I liked that right here. We push higher here. There's this higher low. I don't like to add on. That was inside the trade. But we push higher here. We reach that target. And then also the target was very correlated with that measured move. I was not willing to push it higher than the measured move. I just did 1 to 2 straight to that measured move. And notice how at that measured move, price clearly just pushed on through, but then it clearly reacted back once it pulled back on it. So these measured moves really are important levels. So anyway, we push higher here, we get this correction. I see that there's a second entry, but that's really just one leg down, closing below the EMA. So first entry right here, really no reason to go long. And then we have these little ticks. I don't care about the ticks. Higher low right here, that's below the EMA, not a reason to enter. And then here, well, we do have this bigger measured move in play, so you'd be looking to go long, but we just didn't get any setups here, and it's clearly in this range, chopping. So anyway, we reached that measured move. Let me make sure this is exact because, yeah. We reach that measured move. We immediately bounce off of it. Just because you reach a measured move that's not a reason to immediately hit short, but we do push down here. We rush below the EMA. We can look for shorts to go, down to, oh yeah, I want to talk about this uptrend really quick. So at first I started having this uptrend right here. And so I had this uptrend, and then I got this trade with this uptrend right here. I just want to quickly mention that I actually did not have this uptrend at the time of this trade. Now, I did get this, I could have had it at the time of this trade, and I would have stayed in longer, because I got this trend off the highs. We see we have 1, 2, 3, right off the highs, drag it to the lows, fits perfectly off of it. But I actually didn't get that even at the time of this trade, and so I ended up kind of chickening out a little bit early. So the way I was viewing it at this time was, we have this uptrend, we finally reach that measured move, we start rushing back lower, we rush below the EMA, there's no way to get short, and then it gets very, very choppy near the key entry point, and there's really just no way to get long either. And we push higher, we get this higher low, no way to enter, it's just a bearish higher low. Excuse me. And then we reach that measured move again, except at this point, it's like right into this trend line. You can't go short off of it, not to mention this right here. So you can't go short, and then we break. So we have this uptrend, break, and then I have this right here marked as a trap, because really all this is, even if you entered after this bullish bar formed, it's just a huge plummet down. It's, only after the break and new low do you get anything good here. But it's just straight down without any kind of attempts at a new low. Even though you can drag these highs down to here and then get this range, it's just not clear enough. The downtrend hasn't played out yet, and so you can't go long there yet. That's why I have that marked as a trap. Okay, where was I besides that? Oh yeah, so uptrend, break, and then notice how after this downtrend plays out, I waited for it to get above the EMA, and I had to get in with a limit order here. But I liked this. At first, I had my target up here at 1.75R, but I did end up lowering it because it had to do with it. It was kind of emotional. It was just chopping around. It was, it almost reached 1-to-1 there, which at the time it was up there, so I didn't know. But I lowered it, seeing it had almost reached it, and then it was going back down. So I ended up just keeping it here. And my reasoning was we could have a second leg down like this. So like downtrend break, new low as the whole leg. I was afraid of getting another leg down like that because, because we did break out of the overnight. That is a significant level. And I was afraid of it because it was breaking out of this uptrend right here. So I was afraid of getting two of these down. But I shouldn't have been so afraid of that because I did wait for it to close above the EMA. I didn't enter down here. I specifically waited for it to get above the EMA. And then if I had been paying closer attention, I could have gotten this off those highs, drawn that there, and then that would have just boosted my confidence in the trade, and then I would have left it up here even if it took a while down here. So, kind of just emotional trade. Let me fix the RR here. So I was supposed to have it all the way up here. I was just doing, 1.75, a few ticks below. Would have been great, but I kind of chickened out on that, unfortunately. So yeah, I wish I had that. I just wasn't being proactive with my trend lines this morning. So anyway, we push lower here, so we break out of this channel here. So we actually, we bounced off of it right there. Had those 3 off the highs, 2 off the lows. And then we just, rush down below the EMA, break the channel. So let me draw this smaller downtrend. So we have downtrend, break, expecting a new low. We don't reach the EMA here. We push down to a new low, and then we clearly were trying, and then here's my loss right here. It was a dumb loss because it was really just one leg up right here. Because even though I don't know how I tricked myself like this, I was kind of seeing it as, one leg break, second leg, but that's really just one leg up, and then I waited for the real second leg up here, and then it was all good. But yeah, we were reversing down here. We had clearly, we'd met this measured move and then just plummeted straight back down. That's a very strong level indicating reversal. And so when we plummeted down here in this downtrend break and a new low, I viewed this rejection of the EMA as, oh, we're probably going to reach all the way down to the overnight high at the very least. And so that's how I got stopped out there, because it was just one leg up. I should have waited on a second significant leg, especially with how choppy that was. But after we got that second leg up here, so let me draw that here. It's literally measured to the tick, or it's not quite, but let me get that there. It's basically measured to the tick. It's probably one tick higher. Good signal bar. EMA is still holding down. It did close above, but it really kind of trapped lower. It didn't go all the way to the low and stop them out immediately, but clearly we just ticked higher, went straight lower, and then closed back below the EMA. And then I just wanted to get out at the overnight high in case we retest it. Now, it wasn't like a huge picture trade, which is why I wasn't super confident on it just fading straight all the way down through. But because it is really, it's a much smaller picture than, say, over here or even this trade, assuming I caught this trend line in time. But it was a smaller picture trade. I just wanted to get out at 1-to-1 before we reach the overnight highs. But we do push lower here. We get this breakout pullback for this range right here. It's more of a fade retest for the overnight right here. But we don't get a setup. We just keep pushing lower. We get this bigger downtrend in play. Then after we get this, we have this downtrend break, first attempt at a new low, and then second attempt, it clearly reacts to that measured move here. And then there's just no way to go short here. Yes, it is retesting it there. It clearly has STT in it. Very clear. The EMA couldn't hold to the downside. I would want to wait on, a second leg like this. That way it's more like a failed second entry. We can get like a downtrend, and then like first entry long, second entry long, failure, but we didn't even get a perfect setup for that. It was just chopping back and forth above and below the EMA. But after that first leg, we correct right here. We rush back above, and then I don't want to go short right there. We rush back below, and we don't get any good long setups either. So it's kind of just chopping, unable to make a decision. Now, I don't like going short right here because it's not really off of anything. Now, when I move this trend line, let me move it back up really quick. So when it's off of this, when you try drawing a trend like this, it breaks already, and so before the third confirmation. So there was really no reason to go short right here. It was clearly holding onto the EMA. Some went short right here as the third bounce. See 1, 2, third bounce right here, and then it just trapped higher. And so I was not wanting to go short on this right here. It was just choppy in the middle of this range, confusing. But we do push lower here, and then we reach that measured move. And then we try to fade this range, but we were forming a bearish imbalance here the whole time. See lower highs the whole time, and then so it's not surprising that we couldn't get far back into the range right here before plummeting lower. But we do break out lower. We correct. It's pretty choppy. There's no clear entries right here. Oh, it looks like this seemed like a fast video. We're already near the end. Not that I wanted it to be fast, but anyway. So where was I? Oh yeah, right here. So just really no clear entries. It's just goes straight down, gets really choppy, rush back above, higher low, back below the EMA. This is a to the tick failed second entry. That's just too short term for me to even take. Then we go into this uptrend, break, and then I guess on a small picture you'd see first attempt higher, second attempt higher, and then it hasn't failed or succeeded really. It's just kind of chopping around. So yeah, I guess that's going to do it for the day. With these trades right here, I like this one, and I really wish that I had stayed longer in this. I wish I had caught this trend line, because being proactive with the trend lines is really important. I kind of messed up on that. I've been kind of ever since winter. You know, that kind of, even though it's been a few months already, it kind of threw me off because it was much slower, and so I fell out of the habit of drawing trend lines off the highs, and so that kind of lasted a little bit longer. You know, outside of that, you know, a couple months later. So that's one thing I'm, you know, getting better at again. It's just I've been missing these trends off the highs lately, but yeah. So it really got choppy at the end of the day here. Notice how, you know, it's just a lot more clear over here, and then it kind of just gets choppy and a little bit more messy over here. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Appreciate you for watching, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Let me zoom out and show the whole day again.